Okay. Good evening, colleagues. Yeah, good evening, Zambia. What you do is just share this broadcast because what we want to raise are critical issues that are affecting the nation. Thank you so much for those that have been following the page. 𝗦𝗛𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗚 TV is growing because of your support. 𝗦𝗛𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗚. So what it is this. I just want to comment on a critical issue, and that critical topical issue is on the issue of stamping on the ballot papers. So please share this broadcast. Share this broadcast because we are only remaining with 29 days. We are remaining with 29 days to go to the general elections for us to decide who becomes the president of this country. Okay, we are remaining with 29 days. 30 days yasira, but we are remaining with 29 days with some hours. Now, 29 days with some hours to go. We have been told by the Electoral Commission, okay, of Zambia that for the first time in the history of voting in our country, we are going to have ballot papers that will be stamped behind. Okay, they are going to have a stamp behind. Since 1964, we have been having elections which have ushered in different heads of states. Kaunda, Chiluba, Manawasa, Arabi, Maikosata, and all these years we've never had ballot papers that were stamped behind. But this is a new, technology which they have introduced, and unfortunately, they have introduced it with a few days to go to the general elections, where majority of the Zambian people are not aware about the issue of the stamping behind the ballot papers. Okay, how many of the Zambian people know this? Okay, the 𝗧𝗛𝗓𝗧 are telling us that a ballot paper that will not be stamped behind will be an invalid ballot paper. It will be a spoiled ballot. Now, we have also been reliably informed that these ballot papers, what will be happening is that they are not stamped as we are speaking now. So 𝗧𝗧𝗧 officials, they are the ones, when you are going to vote, before you go to the booth, they will stamp on the ballot. When they stamp on the ballot there, that's when you go and vote. Now, me personally, not as UPND, not as coming from any organization, at a personal level, I've got issues with the stamping of ballots. In a way that a ballot paper, when you create the issue of stamping, what will happen is that what happens in an event that at a particular polling station, the ink for stamping ballot papers has finished. What happens? We are going to have prolonged hours of voting. We are going to have a complication where, in a particular polling stations, they will be closing late to vote. We are going to have the voting process taking place for 4 days, because there will be rural areas where they are going to accuse themselves and say, no, we are failing to proceed with voting because the ink or the machines or the stampers that we use for stamping behind, they have run out of ink or they have malfunctioned. We don't want technicalities in this year's elections. We want people to do things the way they have been done for many years. But what 𝗧𝗧𝗧 is trying to do, they are trying to change the rules of the game in the 11th minute. Imagine you have been preparing for a tournament. In the last minute, that's when the referee is trying to change the rules of the game. So this is what is happening. Bantu Zambia, if vama stamping quite alright, we cannot change them. But the point I'm trying to alert you is that the reason why they have brought this issue of stamping is to prolong the electoral process, to delay the counting of votes, and also to bring confusion. Then the other confusion that will be brought over the issue of stamping is that there will be particular polling stations in strongholds of the opposition like UPND, where certain people, certain ballot boxes, certain ballot papers will be refused on an account that they did not have stamps behind. Imagine in a typical rural area, people they'll be told to vote, and they will vote without stamps, and those ballots will be put in the ballot box. When the votes will be counted, when the ballot box is open for counting, they discover that a lot of people they voted without the stamps behind, and that can be done deliberately by 𝗧𝗛𝗔 officials. Okay, in a polling station where you go there to vote and you are told that stamps are finished, where so or the toner for the stamp has finished, so we are going to allow you to just vote like that. Then when you vote like that, we are going to destamp later on. You go back home and they don't stamp. Before you realize, you will be receiving reports to say, oh, 15,000 people they voted and their ballot papers didn't have stamps. This is a delayment in the electoral process. Whenever you see an electoral commission in any particular country changing the rules of the game, okay, in the 11th hour, just to know that it's a recipe for anarchy, it's a recipe for rigging an election. I mean, we have had elections. This is not the first time we have in elections. We have had elections for many years. Why having a change in the ball game now? And to make the matters worse, let me ask you the question, you is watching me. How many adverts have you seen on the TV and on the radio speaking about a change in the ballot paper alignment, where they are advertising on TV, advertising on radio that the difference between the previous ballot paper and the current ballot paper is that the current ballot paper behind will have a stamp? Have you seen such an advert? Have you seen such an advert on TV or anywhere or in the newspaper? Why is it that 𝗧𝗛𝗔, when they are doing things, they don't want to consult us? They don't want to announce to us. They want to keep us speculating in the dark. That shows you that there's something fishy about what they are planning to do. But however, the critical issue is not on the stamping. The issue of stamping is there to make sure that it prolongs the number of hours that people spend in the polling station. The issue of putting stamps behind, it is there to bring technicalities that will make ordinary minds, uneducated people, old people, okay, those who don't understand issues, to go there and vote, and eventually their vote it turns out to be spoiled ballots, because there will be too many rules to follow. We don't want too many rules to follow in this year's election. We want things to be clear, categorical, and we vote. When you see, I repeat, when you see the electoral commission of any particular country changing the electoral rules in the 11th minute, just to know that there is something wrong. Okay? Why didn't they, for argument's sake, why didn't they say that why didn't they put the stamps at the time that they were putting the ballots in Dubai? Okay, now we are being told that the stamps they are not there. The stamps will be done manually by 𝗧𝗛𝗔 officials. Comrades, countrymen and women, we must be careful about what this 𝗧𝗔 wants to do. They want to plunge this country in chaos. What we will do as citizens, okay, is to conscientize, to tell our friends, share this broadcast, tell everybody that there's an issue of stamps, that if you go there to vote in a polling station, okay, and your ballot paper does not have a stamp, then that thing is not valid. And before you vote, make sure that the 𝗧𝗔 official must stamp. They must not tell you to say, no, the ink for the stamp was finished. They must not give you any excuse why they have given you a ballot paper that does not have a stamp. You must make sure that you are given a ballot paper that has got a stamp. That is what you must make sure. We must beat them at their game. Okay, and we are not going to accept them to watch the voting process, citing reasons to say, no, the stamp is not there, citing reasons to say the ink for the stamping has stopped. We will not allow. We have to make sure that we teach them a lesson, okay, by making them dance to their lesson. That is what I thought I could explain to you. Share this broadcast, because this time around we have reached a critical stage. I'm broadcasting here. There is no power. Power has gone, because even the issue of power, the issue of internet, okay, the issue of freedom of assembly. We are living in a country, okay, where to become an opposition leader, for you to oppose, they are shutting down all your voices. Some of us here, we keep running up and down, okay, because we are being chased, we are being trailed by PF cadres, okay. But I want to assure the Zambian people that victory is certain. Victory is certain very soon. After 29 days, the leadership of this country will be in the right hands, not in the hands of criminals. Share this broadcast. I thank you.